Hello everyone and welcome back to another video with On Point Politics, and today we are looking at the Electoral College map based on all the data we have today. We are just 100 days away from the 2024 presidential election, and I want to take a look at what the Electoral College map currently stands. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you want more content just like this. And so, looking at the current data right now, Donald Trump has seemingly lost ground against Kamala Harris compared to before, where he was leading pretty easily against Joe Biden. Now he seems to be leading by 1.8% in the aggregate. However, I have an election model that I have crafted that takes into account approval ratings of both the candidates, does not use any state polls, by the way, and just goes off of the national shifts and kind of uses approval ratings in all of the individual states to kind of track where the candidates are, since that tends to be a little bit more of an accurate measure on the state and federal level. The approval ratings tend to predict the national popular vote pretty well. And right now, Donald Trump currently sits at about 43% approval rating on civics to Harris's 41%. That would be around a 2-point spread, but when you factor in third-party candidates, that may give Trump about a 2 or 3 point boost in the popular vote. And the fact that rural areas are not accounted for in polling data as easily as suburban and urban areas are, and the fact that I think Donald Trump is probably going to do better in the rurals now that Harris is the nominee, is definitely going to underestimate him in the popular vote. My model has him winning by 4.9 percentage points in the national popular vote. And so we're going to be filling out the Electoral College map as where everything stands as of right now. Now, looking at the safe red states, we have the states of Utah, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, the Dakotas, all of Nebraska except that 2nd congressional district. You have the state of Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, Missouri, Indiana, and West Virginia going in the safe Republican column, which gives Donald Trump 113 safe Electoral College votes with Maine's 2nd congressional district, as well as the state of South Carolina. The state of Iowa is now an 18-point victory. An accurate pollster from the state of Iowa that nailed all the primaries the past few years and 2020 was actually able to produce a plus 18 poll with Trump going against Biden in the state. And so if Trump is really up by 18 points there, give or take, now with Harris, they probably have to do a new poll. But the fact that she's up by this much, or he's up by this much in the state, even against Biden, is pretty good. And that's actually what my model is showing right now. The state of Ohio is an 18-point victory as well for Donald Trump. Looking at the safe Democrat states, we have the state of California coming in at around 21 points for Harris. We have a 19-point victory in the state of Hawaii for Harris. We also have different states that are voting safe blue, including the state of Vermont, Massachusetts, Maryland, and DC, all going in this column, giving Harris 85 safe Electoral College votes. Looking at the likely Republican states, now we have the states of Florida and Texas, which are now about 13 and 14-point victories respectively, and they are no longer in the safe Republican column. They have now fallen under this category as of right now. The polling still looks really good for Trump here, but the favorabilities and the trends in the states are kind of pushing them below the 15-point categories. But Florida being a 13-point victory is already pretty good. That's about a 10-point shift in the national environment. And right now, from 4.5 points for Biden to 4.9%, that's kind of like a 9-point shift nationwide to the right. And so the fact that Trump is winning the state by around 13 is still pretty good. That means the state's trending about 4 points to the right, and that it's voting about 11 points to the right of the nation. So that rightward trend in Florida will actually still continue. In the state of North Carolina, we have around an 8.5-point victory in that state. In the state of Georgia, we also have a 6.7 percentage point victory, indicating that the state would actually trend about 2 to 3 points to the left. Because of the state being a very left-leaning state now, Joe Biden won the state back in 2020 due to high African-American turnout, and the white suburban areas actually shifting pretty left. That's pushing the state to the left, and we clearly see that the state is only voting 2.8 percentage points to the right of the nation. And that clearly is going to make the state trend closer and closer to the Democrats as time goes on. The state of Arizona is an 8-point victory, indicating it's still voting to the right of the nation by 4 points. I believe the leftward trend here may be stagnating because of the issues at the southern border. You also have the state of Nevada as a 10-point victory for Donald Trump in our forecast here, which is pretty interesting. The Culinary Workers Union just endorsed the former president, so that is very interesting as of right now to see how that development is going on. That state actually, the Culinary Workers Union actually even endorsed Clinton and Obama in their elections. And when I refer to Clinton, I mean Hillary. So that is very interesting that is even being the case. Alaska is also now in the likely Republican column as a 14-point win for Donald Trump. The state is trending heavily to the left. So despite the national environment being about R+5, the state is still kind of voting, a couple points to the left of where it was last time. Wisconsin is a 9-point victory in this forecast, including Pennsylvania being at around 10 points, and the state of Michigan being at an 8.4 percentage point victory, which still gets Donald Trump to 312 electoral college votes regardless. Looking at the likely Democrat states, we have the state of Washington at 11 points for Harris. We have Oregon at 9 points for Harris. We have the state of Colorado at 7 points for Harris, including the state of Illinois at 7 points for Harris. Connecticut is in that likely column at 11 points. Delaware at 8 points, and the state of Rhode Island coming in at just 10 points for Harris. And we also have the state of New York coming in as a 12.5-point victory. So that is also something very interesting to take note of as well, which brings Harris to 176 electoral college votes, with Maine's first congressional district being a pretty easy win at around 11 points. But all of these states that are in the likely column, except Colorado, were actually all safe states in the previous election for Joe Biden. And so the fact that she's all winning these states by less than 15 points now, besides Colorado, which was already below 15 points, is a really bad sign for Harris in this matchup, considering that she's winning all these states below 15 points, whereas Joe Biden in the last election won all those likely states except Colorado in the safe Democrat column in the previous cycle. And so the state of New Jersey is also in the likely column. It is coming in as an 8-point victory for Harris as of right now. And looking at the last couple of states here, we have the state of Nebraska second, being the only lean Republican state on the map here, coming in at just 3.5 points for Donald Trump. The only lean Democrat state is actually going to be Virginia here, believe it or not, at a lean margin, 2.8 percentage points for Harris. So she's kind of improved in the state there. And then for the Till Republican states, we have the state of New Mexico at 0.5% for Harris, also, or for Donald Trump. We have Minnesota at 0.5 percentage points for Donald Trump. And we also have the state of Maine for Donald Trump as well. And in New Hampshire, Harris is now winning that state very narrowly at 0.11 percentage points. So technically, you could basically say it could go either way. I mean, really, to be honest with you, Maine at large in New Hampshire really could go either way. Even to an extent, Minnesota and New Mexico, that would put the race as close as 313 for Donald Trump. But as of right now, according to the model, with the latest forecast, Donald Trump is now at 330 electoral college votes to Harris's 208. Yesterday in a live stream, I actually had Trump at 313, but now that his favorability went up a point in civics, that is definitely going to help him in the electoral college and push him over the states like in Minnesota, New Mexico, and Maine at large in this election forecast. So now that election day is basically 100 days away, we are getting closer and closer to that historic day. And guys, make sure to go out and vote regardless of whatever party you are. You guys have to vote for the candidate that you want to vote for. And for those who are Donald Trump fans, just because I have Donald Trump winning 330 doesn't mean that you have to be complacent. There's still a lot of work for you guys to do, and you guys have to fight like you are 10 points behind. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you want more content just like this. And I will see you guys in the next video.